1.
My name is Nick. I'm a full-time trader and entrepreneur. We put out tons of stuff for free for traders.
These are real trades. This is real money. I'm putting my money on the line.
This is going to be a live trading video here, locking in over $1,000 on this trade.
Wow, I'd love to get in on this.
Technical insights that really look good to me.
Here we go, we're live.
Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for being here. Got a good number of people in the crowd, in the audience, ready here for today's stream. So thank you very much for coming back and hanging out with me. We've got some stuff to talk about. It is a Friday, so happy Friday to you. Hope you're doing well. If you're new to my channel, what I do here is I live stream basically throughout the week, talking about setups, talking about analysis, and going through both a fundamental and a technical view of what's going on in the foreign exchange market. Many of you guys are probably on a similar journey to myself. You've been looking at Forex, you've been looking at stocks, you've been trying to figure out better ways to trade. So my goal with these streams is to sort of just share a little bit of my experience and also to do my own analysis for trades that I am considering either going into next week or even today. So with that said, thank you for being here. Good morning, good afternoon, welcome back. Glad that you're here. Okay, so what's going on in the world of currencies? Well, I do have a couple things I want to talk about. I do want to talk about the dollar today, which seems to be finding a little bit of sell pressure here on Friday. So I'll go ahead and mark some of the key spots that I had marked up or thought about here. So it does seem like the dollar is really trying to make a push past this 93 zone. You can see, I'll zoom in here so you can actually see my screen a little bit. There we go. So it seems to me that the US dollar is really trying to get above this level here at 93. And in the meantime, we continue to see sellers step back in and push prices back down. I've made the opinion, or recently I've shared my analysis, which I think is for now, I think that the dollar has sort of cooled its bullishness until we see something further from the Fed. I talked about that quite a bit yesterday, talking about the idea of like, can we see something from the Fed that sort of backs up these numbers? So we're seeing decent jobs numbers, actually very good job numbers last week. And, this week we had some mixed sentiment around CPI. And today we see on Friday, the market selling off again for the US dollar. This impacts a lot of the different currency pairs. Real quick, what I'm looking at is the US dollar currency index. It is a summary basically of the dollar. It's like the average of the dollar compared to things like the yen, the euro, the pound, the Aussie, etc. And so what we see here is that the dollar overall has been, it's been on a good run recently. But the question is that run finished? And are we going to see, sort of that sell pressure back down to the lows of the year? Or are we actually going to be making some new highs for the year? Since this right here, back in March and April, we saw the dollar top out there at around 93.5, just shy of that level. So looking to see if, the dollar wants to break out next week could be interesting. Now, the dollar coming down is probably pretty good for my gold long position that I shared throughout the week here. So I am long on gold and do plan on talking a little bit about the gold market with you guys here on the stream. So stay tuned for that. Should be an interesting one to discuss. But I usually like to wait until we do gold for a little bit longer into the stream, mostly because we have a lot of people who join us late and these streams sort of pick up number of viewers towards the end. So I do like to talk about gold towards the end just because it is such a requested topic. So for my friends who want to see gold, we will get there. Don't you worry. I am long on gold, so I do want to look at it myself. Okay. So let's think. What else for the dollar before we jump into some of the individuals? Well, I think that next week, if you do see some sell pressure for the dollar, I would say that you probably have some strong buyers down there at 92 on the dot. And then, of course, the question just becomes, can we break out to the upside? And what that would really take, in my view, if you are looking at the dollar with a long bias, I would say what that would take really would be something from the Fed. And we talked about that yesterday. I think that you need to hear something about tightening monetary policy to really get us above the yearly highs, because that's sort of the game changer, if you will. Yes, you have strengthening GDP, et cetera, But if the Fed doesn't move on their, monetary policy, tightening things, then it's really sort of like not as beneficial to the dollar strength overall. So we'll have to see going into next week. Speaking of next week, did we have any major news for next week? Let's go see. I'm going to go to forexfactory.com. I'm going to pull up the calendar here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go to next week, and we'll take a look here. Okay, looks like we have a pretty busy week. So next week on Tuesday, we have USD core retail sales. We also have NZD with some monetary policy statements, which definitely could be market moving. If you are watching the NZD, myself included, I'm very interested in trading the NZD pairs at this time. So this will be on my radar for sure. And then on Wednesday, we do have, of course, the FOMC meeting minutes. And that's where things are going to get interesting because, again, we have all these numbers coming out. Again, core retail sales should be an interesting one to watch as well going into next week. That's Tuesday, right? So going into next week, if we get more good numbers from retail sales, if things continue to look good, it is going to be a lot of pressure and a lot of eyes on the Fed to see if, in fact, we can actually get some form of follow through in monetary policy to match the numbers that we're seeing. We've seen good jobs numbers, like I said, and inflation is quite high right now. So the question is the Fed going to sort of stomp it out? Is there going to be some form of monetary policy tapering? Could be on the table for discussion. The Fed has mentioned that they plan on, when they do taper, doing it well in advance, meaning that they're not going to just say, oh, yeah, we're tapering now. They're going to try and ease their way into it to keep markets flowing stable. So that's kind of the idea going into next week, is watch the Wednesday meeting. That could be a market mover for the US dollar if you are watching it. And then you also, of course, have some good figures or some numbers to watch for Australia, which is definitely going to be heavily looked at due to Australia's sort of lockdown situation. Is that lockdown and is the pandemic situation there, is that going to cause more issues for the AUD? That's the question. Those are some news things to pay attention to next week. We'll take a look now at Euro USD. Euro USD coming off at the lows here today with that dollar strength coming in. Let's see. The euro is really interesting to me because I've sort of been in this range bound market. For me, as an onlooker with the euro, I would actually like to see this thing break beneath the lows. I really think that this thing could get interesting if we were to see a break under 1.17. You may see some momentum pick up in that case. You may see some opportunities to look to sell into that flow to the downside there for the euro. That would be one of my more favorite case scenarios here with the euro. If it does start to rally and continue to rally for a while, then maybe you see a little bit of a retracement here. Some natural places that come to mind when looking at the euro USD here for a potential pullback, to me, seem like areas here pretty clearly at 1.19 seems like a fairly reasonable level to look for potential resistance. And then, of course, if you have a further retracement there, you've got this level here at 1.196. Now, we could also draw some fibs. We could get fancy with it, but I actually like the idea of drawing a more recent fib to see if there's anything here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw a fib from the recent top there to the recent low. We're looking at the 4-hour chart. So this gives us a couple levels to look at. Nothing really stands out to me here. This price action here, super choppy. If you are looking at the Euro USD for a retracement, I would say for me, I'm just going to be cautious on selling it. The move here to the downside does seem quite extended overall. And so you may see a deeper retracement. You may see something like the 61.8 come into play next week if the US dollar remains sort of weak as it has been the last few hours here. We'll see if that continues going into next week. That's going to be very, very heavily watched, especially considering we have meeting minutes next week for the Fed. So that's the thoughts there for the Euro USD. I think we have some potential short-term upside there. May see that Euro USD strengthen a bit more. It does seem like the bulls here have been fairly stubborn down at 1.172. And really not wanting to cross underneath that 1.17 mark. So you probably have a lot of bulls who are trying to sort of hold their way there. But we will have to see, again, going into next week. That will be very, very interesting to watch to see if, in fact, the US dollar rally is sort of topping out, or if we're going to get a breakout and see some continuation. So if you are bullish on the dollar, one key spot I would say to watch out for would in fact be some form of a break underneath the lows. Can we get something like that next week? I'd say that that could be something to watch out for. I do like that. If I'm looking at the Euro USD, my favorite setup would in fact be, the breakout to the downside and looking for continuation play there going into probably next week. We're probably not going to see that today. So, and this is the patience game. We're looking at the 4-hour chart. You guys may know, if you've been watching me for a while, I am mostly a swing trader. So I'm not afraid to sit on the sidelines and wait, because I find that I have a lot more success trading the higher time frames and going for those bigger moves than trying to chase every little thing on the 5-minute and the 15-minute chart. There's nothing against doing that. If you are that sort of trader, then by all means, do your thing. Maybe you see a little bit of upside here short term for the Euro USD on the intraday time frames. If you drop down to the 1-hour chart, maybe there's some opportunities to look for things like this, right? Looking for more pullback here and upside for the rest of the day. Maybe we see a Friday close in the Euro that is quite strong. Definitely worth considering. If you are an intraday trader, by all means, do your thing. I'm not here to tell you you can't do it, but for me as a swing trader, the more ideal situation would be looking for those bigger moves, maybe something like this, sort of continuing the overall flow of the Euro on the higher time frames. Okay. So let's keep looking along here. We'll take a look at GBP USD next. So the pound has been very tricky for me recently. Took a couple trades on the pound, didn't go so well. And I think most of it is just due to the sort of choppiness nature here. You can see that there are times for the pound where things are incredibly trendy, and I love those sort of environments. Those offer some really great opportunities. But then every once in a while, you get into an environment that is more sort of choppy, back and forth, not so decisive. So right now, I would say, I mentioned this yesterday. I'll sort of reiterate what I was saying. So yesterday with the pound dollar, we saw that price is kind of down in this, it's in this range, right? You've got this, this channel to the downside going back and forth, right? You're seeing lots of sellers come in each time price pops to the upside. For me, it would be interesting to see if we can get some form of a breakout above that channel. If in fact that occurs, you may have some decent risk to reward looking for a continuation back up to the highs. Some of the levels that stick out to me would be levels like 1.14 really, but sorry, 1.4 and 1.398, somewhere in that range. Could be interesting to watch. We can actually extend this out here and you can see it's really sort of that 1.4 zone at the top of this sort of previous move here. So, and then you've got the retracement here to consider as well. If you are a swing trader here, there may be, if you are bullish on the pound, maybe you see a pop back down to something like the 50% retracement. That looks pretty clean to me for possible long side action. And then really, maybe if you're more of a, waiting for confirmation, waiting for breakout sort of trader, maybe you do see something like this. Maybe you see price tag this and you say, okay, well, I'm good for a buy, but I'd like to see it break out of this channel. Maybe some nice risk to reward there. And again, these are setups most likely for next week because it is Friday and the markets can sometimes be quite quiet on Friday. We'll have to see if anything sort of picks up. But, this offers something really interesting for me on the pound dollar, maybe next week, right? This is a scenario in which I could see myself picking up some longs. Basically, you're saying, okay, well, prices, we had this big impulsive move. Now we see this corrective retracement. And then what I'm looking for is a breakout of that counter trend in favor of the trend and looking for more upside there, riding that overall momentum upwards. Does that make sense? That's kind of what I'm thinking with the pound going into next week. Of course, I also mentioned earlier on this week that if the dollar does decide to strengthen, if we get some form of monetary policy tightening, I think it is very reasonable to say that we could see the price come down to something like 1.36. That is, very much going to depend on what we see next week for the Fed meeting. So let me give you a few examples. I'll have to revisit this once we get closer next week. I'm sure that I will be live streaming Monday through Friday. So tune in if you haven't already. By the way, this is a good chance, before I forget, if you're newer to these streams and these streams are helpful to you, if you are looking to improve as a trader, I share a lot of my journey, a lot of my experiences here on my channel. So I want to invite you to subscribe down below. I know you hear YouTubers all the time just say like, hey, subscribe. But I'm serious. I think it might actually be helpful to you if you are looking to improve as a trader. hit that subscribe button down below, hit the notification bell, and let me share some content with you, some of the lessons that I have learned. If you're 6 months into your trading, I'm 6 years in, and I've learned some really hard lessons and some really important lessons too. So I can hopefully share some of those on my channel. So again, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you're new here, and get some free trading content headed your way. Thank you very much for the 10 Swiss franc there. Really appreciate that super sticker as well. Very much appreciated. Thank you so much to, I believe it's Bizgure. If I said it wrong, I apologize, but thank you very much for supporting the stream. It does mean quite a bit when you guys drop any sort of donation. You really don't have to, but when you do, it does mean quite a bit. So yeah, I think it could be a very interesting thing going into next week, looking at the pound. I don't have any positions open on the pound right now. The pound does seem like it's having a good day here on Friday. But again, for me, what would really be interesting would be to watch to see if we can get some form of a breakout outside of that channel and then looking for continuation, maybe back up to 1.4. That would depend, however, on some dollar weakness. If we get dollar strength next week, if something comes out super bullish for the US dollar, I have no problem switching my opinion and looking for sells if monetary policy tightening seems like it's headed our way. Right? That would be sort of the thing I'm watching for. Okay. So you're very welcome. Thank you for being here. First timer. Awesome. We'll glad to have you here. Thanks so much for supporting the content by hitting the like button, subscribe button, all that sort of stuff. And hope to see more of you. So let's keep going. We'll go on to the next thing here. We'll take a look now at what's the next one? Dollar yen. We'll take a look at dollar yen here today. See what's going on with the yen. The dollar pulling back against the yen here today. The dollar has been quite weak. At least today. And so if you are watching this, if you've been watching along with me on the streams for the last week or so, you've basically heard me talking about the fact that the dollar yen has been quite range bound for the last several weeks, really. And so my most likely scenario, again, would probably just match up with continued range bound plays here for the dollar yen. You can see multiple instances where prices basically come back and forth and back and forth. The big thing for me watching the dollar yen is that I've made this clear. I do like dollar yen potentially to the long side if we see something very positive for the dollar. For example, if you get monetary policy tightening next week or talks of rate hikes or something that's positive for the dollar, right? I'd love to see this thing break out of the range, do something like this, right? Breakout, retest, continuations. Those are sort of the recurring theme of my entry style when it comes to trading, but I also match up. For me, trading is not just technical analysis. I'm not just saying, oh, well, the chart's doing this and then this, and I'm going to do this, right? For me, it's a little bit more than that. I like to look at sort of what's going on in the world. Right now, we have a race by central banks to look to tighten monetary policy and sort of come out of this pandemic in the form of recovery, right? So we have that sort of race going on. And so watching the different central banks and trying to align yourselves with the sort of winning banks or winning sort of monetary policies is sort of the name of the game for me in my trading style. A lot of what I do, a lot of what I sort of take into consideration when placing a trade is not just, oh, it's doing a double top or a double bottom. Like those things are nice little added benefits. But for me, what really matters is looking at the fundamentals, looking at, which currencies and economies seem the most strong and most suited for growth, and then aligning myself with them. So right now I am bullish on the NZD pairs. That's something that has sort of been, I've been talking about inside of our private Discord. Inside of the Discord, by the way, I do share all of the trades that I am taking. I will take a second to share that here. So for example, I am long on gold. I've been talking about this one for a little while. We are going to look at gold in just a second. So all the trades that I take, I share inside of our Discord channel. So if you're not familiar with Discord, it's basically like Telegram or like Facebook groups or something like that. But it is one that is really, really well built for what we do, which is we offer a community for traders. So if you are a newer trader or a more experienced trader and you're looking to collaborate with other people, we have an entire community. We have we have several thousands of people who are in our group. We have a full staff and team here in Atlanta, Georgia, which manages this group. So if you have any interest in joining this, we've put a tremendous amount of effort into building this. You can see all the trades that I take. You can see Frank's trades, Patrick's trades, myself. We have chat rooms available, Forex chat rooms, general chat rooms, etc. We do live webinars, which Joe just posted one. So he's a guy out of Australia that takes time to answer questions for people who are struggling with their trading. We have an educational material section. We also have a strategy library, so you can read through, sort of my approach, my strategies, as well as some of our other analysts here at A1 Trading. So if you're not already in the Discord and you would like to join it, there's a link and a promo code down below in the description. You can get access to the group for a discounted rate. So check it out. Support what we do here. Obviously on YouTube, you can watch this stuff for free. But if you would like to, if you've been watching the content for a while, feel free to come join the community, come chat with some other traders, and see what we are trading. So with that said, there's your little pitch today. For the community. Again, it is a great place. I've met like dozens and dozens of trading friends through the Discord that we offer, which is a really cool extra perk. Is I've met some really awesome people. I always tell the story of one gentleman who he is inside of our private group, and he offered for me to literally come to his restaurant because he lives also in Georgia, where I'm from, Georgia in the United States. And so really cool. He invited me to come to his restaurant. I thought that was just awesome. So just somebody that I had met through Discord. So it's always cool to just collaborate with other people. And it's really just an added bonus to work with others in this stuff. Trading is sort of like, it is this individual game. Like, you have to build your own strategies. You have to test things yourself. You have to understand what you're doing personally, but it really, really does help to bounce ideas off of other people who are doing the same things, right? If other people are back testing too, and they can share insights to you that might put you ahead by, a week of work, right? This trading thing is not easy. It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, but if you can chat with other people, you might be able to speed up that process, and also to learn from some of the people who are more experienced in this. Again, if you're just blind, coming into this stuff and you're very new to trading, it is incredibly difficult, and having other people around you that could be, sort of helpful to your journey is huge. So anyways, that's what I think for the dollar yen, sort of range bound for now. Going into next week, like I said, if we get some form of really positive or hawkish things for the US dollar, maybe we could see something like this come into play, which would be my most interesting scenario for dollar yen. Next up, we'll take a look at dollar Swiss. Would like to see what is going on with this one. This one also selling off today in response to a weakening dollar here. The dollar Swiss seems like it is struggling to really continue this recent push. We would probably not want to see a lower high here, right? We put in that high back late July. Now the question is this going to be a lower high? Right? Are we going to see, for the next week, a sell-off on the dollar and show some form of, weakening or downtrending here on the dollar Swiss franc? Just a couple things to think about there. I do like this idea over 92.7, let's say, if price were to get strong, monetary policy, etc., some form of dollar strength catalyst, I would like to actually be long on dollar Swiss. So just some things to think about there. Next up is going to be gold. Let's take a look at gold here. I mentioned that I am long on gold at 1703. That was a trade alert that I shared inside of the Discord, like I just mentioned. So bought around 1703, 1704, put my stop loss at 1690, and we have been running beautifully since. This thing has just been on a rocket ship all week, and really, really cool to see it doing this, because again, it was sort of a scary buy to take. Truthfully, price collapsed right on the open last week, or this week, sorry. We had sort of a flash crash to the downside. I ended up buying at 1703, right around here. Since then, we have had just nothing but strength for the gold market. And this may just be a little bit of a response today to the dollar weakness that we're seeing. Maybe the inflation concerns are still there, and maybe we see a little bit still buying of gold going on. Now, I am not I'm not saying that this is the absolute bottom for gold. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But my plan here for gold is to let it run. I've been trailing my stop loss. My stop loss is underneath this previous low at this time. So if we just look at the 1 hour view, for those of you guys who are tracking along with my trades inside of the Discord. So I bought in at 1703, if you guys remember, and I've just been holding since. I moved stops up to, here. Well, originally I was able to move them up to break even. Then I moved stops just below this swing low. Then I move stops up just below this swing low. And if price continues, I will probably look to trail stops more and to continue to lock in profits on the gold market. So this one has just been a really, really good winner for me. Probably the best one in the last few weeks for me. You're talking about a significant move there of just about $60. $60 on the price of gold is what I'm up right now, which is truthfully, I got to pat myself on the back because that's I wish all my trades were that good. It would make trading really easy. But coming into 1765 here as we speak, gold looks very, very strong. And now sort of doing an interesting thing, because if we back out a little bit, we take a look at the 4 hour view. I'll show you guys this. So we had this level of resistance, which was sort of the question mark. It does look like gold is trying to break out through that level. If that level can break and hold, then I absolutely will look to be trailing stops further. And then the next level here would, of course, be a move back up to the daunting 1800 mark. Can we get price to move up to that point? Again, like I said, I am long holding on to my position, and things are going pretty well so far. So we will see if they can persist. So there's a little bit of a better drawing of the support level. So you can see what was resistance. We had a little bit of a check there from sellers. And then right here today, we're seeing dollar strength. Dollar weakness come in, pushing prices higher for the gold market. Because remember, if you're looking at XAU USD and the dollar is weakening, that could actually be good for the price of gold, relatively speaking, right? So we see dollar weakness coming in today, which is helping out the gold price here and ultimately helping out my position there. So we'll see if we can get a little bit further. We should do a Zoom sometime. Smokey Bear, we've got Zoom calls all the time inside of the group. Joe starts basically Zoom calls every other day, sharing questions and answers with members and stuff like that. So we do Zoom calls more privately. If you are interested in that, that is something that we offer inside of the Discord. If you're already in the Discord, it's under VIP webinars. So check those out if you'd like to come join those and ask your questions and work with Joe, who is a 14-year trading veteran and educator. Really nice guy, and one of our lead analysts there at A1 Trading. So feel free to check it out if you would like. Why is the dollar weak? Well, why is the dollar weak? It could just be a technical move here, but I believe there was something. Hold on, let me see what I have for you. U.S. import prices moderate, export costs jump. The price index for U.S. imports advanced 0.3% from a month earlier in July, following a 1.1% increase in June and compared with market expectations of 0.6%. Something to do with export costs, perhaps. Seems like, I don't know. That's my best answer. It also, just very well could be a little bit of a sentiment shift and also a little bit of a Friday sell-off there on the dollar. There was sort of just, some conflicting numbers there with CPI and PPI this week. So you had core CPI, which was a little bit less than expected. So a little bit of sentiment, just sort of stagnation there on the dollar from what I can tell. So anyways, with gold, like I said, I think that this thing does have bullish potential to maybe make a stab. If dollar weakness persists next week, maybe could get up to somewhere like 1800, which sounds really far. But again, gold is quite volatile, and it looks like it really is trying to do some serious recovery here. One more thing I will say is that if you're looking at gold from a Fibonacci retracement standpoint, if you draw from here to here, you do have this 61.8 level, which looks like it may get tagged pretty soon. I would watch that one. And if that does break, then again, looks like a potential move right on up to 1800. So that would be my opinion. Of course, I could be wrong about that, but as a trader with a long position open, I'm basically, I would be cool with that if that happened, obviously. Let's pump some gold. Yeah, we will see if it can get up there. So let's see what else we have. Is there anything else that we want to do here last second? Take a look at pound yen here, see what's going on with the pound. Pound is still just stagnating, not doing anything just yet, kind of not interested. What about pound Aussie? Pound Aussie. This one has been pretty cleanly trending to the upside. May be looking like a pullback opportunity somewhere around here. If you think the pound is going to strengthen, that may be something to look at, especially if you're bearish biased on the Aussie, like I kind of am right now. In fact, that's kind of a nice level. I wish I had marked that sooner. I may have jumped into that trade. So something to watch out for. You've also probably got a fib level somewhere nearby. So yeah, not too shabby. I do like this thing to the upside. I think it is trending nicely and may be a nice candidate for potential trend following, maybe pushes higher. So I'll be watching that. Again, if I take any trades, you guys will see them in the Discord. And for those of you guys who are already members within our Discord, keep an eye out. I will probably be doing some updates for the rest of the day going into the weekend. So again, join us if you haven't already inside of the Discord. There's a link down below in the description. Come join the community if you haven't already. If you've been watching my videos for a while and you like my style, like my content, come hang out, come do some more stuff with us. We'd love to have you join us. So with that said, information for that is down below in the description. There's a promo code to get a discount rate off of your membership for supporting us here on YouTube. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for being here today. Have a great weekend, and I will see you back Monday. We do these Monday through Friday. Come make sure to subscribe, come back, hang out with us Monday at 9 a.m. We will be back in the studio doing more analysis. Thanks. We'll see you next time.
I know you were expecting Nick, but my name's Julie and I do the real work around here. I wanted to take a second to thank you guys for watching the show and tell you more about some free content that we offer. One of the things that we offer is a free email newsletter. So if you click the link down below, you can sign up for free market analysis, trading tips, and exclusive offers. Every once in a while, someone here at A1 Trading takes a crazy trade and you'll be the first one to know about it. See you guys next time.